After 13 years together, I finally told my fiance no one should have to tolerate anything from anyone. His response, "This is a unilateral decision." Now I'm left shattered, guilt-ridden, and wondering, was I the one who made the mistake? What's next for me? That is all. I had been with the same person since I was 15 or 16 years old, and on Friday, it came to an end. I texted him to ask if it was acceptable for me to go for a motorcycle ride with a group of friends the following day, and he responded that it was fine. I only requested that he not stay too late at my place because I needed to go to sleep early, and he typically stays up late or lies in bed on his phone. He came over, we watched television, and at around 9:30 p.m., half an hour prior to when we had agreed he would leave, he expressed that he wanted to talk. I felt somewhat upset because I knew the conversation would not be brief, yet I agreed to listen. He stated that I had been distant for a while and that he felt anxious about seeing me, but also felt anxious when he actually saw me. He mentioned that I did not communicate much with him through text and did not share my life with him. I acknowledged that I had been more distant and explained that we were both experiencing a rough patch, something we had discussed previously. I noted that it was natural for things to take time, and in addition to that, a lot had happened in my life over the past 2 months, and I genuinely needed more time alone to focus on myself and my matters. During the conversation, we began to bring up past issues that I still held resentment about, things I had asked him about many times that he had not listened to, and now, all of a sudden, he was the one asking. He then stated that he also tolerated things about me, even though he did not voice those feelings. That moment marked a pivotal point for me. It gave me the courage I had been seeking, and I stated that no one should have to tolerate anything from anyone and requested to end the relationship. He told me I was making a mistake and that the breakup was a unilateral decision. He insisted on repeating that multiple times, and now I feel terrible not only because the relationship ended with someone I still love and care for, but also due to the guilt I am experiencing. His belongings remain in my house. We have not spoken since then. I am uncertain about what to do next. For context, he was never an emotionally connected partner, and on several occasions I felt like we were more friends than a couple. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but therapy helped me understand how all of this affected my personality and beliefs, as I started the relationship at such a young age, and he played a significant role in my personal development. At the beginning of the relationship, about 2 years in, I discovered conversations between him and a friend where they were speaking very disrespectfully about a girl from school, someone within his social circle. The conversation was intense and implied that he would like to hook up with her. We nearly ended our relationship, but he pleaded in every possible way, claiming it was merely teenage nonsense and that he had been influenced by that. We continued the relationship. Following that incident, I became very jealous and anxious whenever he went out only with friends. It was a challenging time, but gradually, over the years, I managed to overcome those feelings and began to trust him again. In college, which we attended together, he did not like to hold my hand, stating that his hands became sweaty. I persisted, cried, confronted him, but nothing worked. He stated that he was not going to change his behavior. At that time, people told me they were unaware we were a couple until they asked me directly. As far as I can remember, he was not very inclined toward physical affection. Although he was quite helpful with acts of service, the absence of genuine touch, hugs, caresses, and spontaneous gestures always affected me, leading to requests, complaints, and arguments. I also longed for emotional presence. The lack of curiosity and interest in what I desired, what I did, or what I found important was notable. Regarding an aesthetic procedure I underwent, which was the best choice I have ever made for myself and significantly boosted my self-esteem in an indescribable manner, he showed no involvement whatsoever. He did not inquire about which doctor I chose, how the procedure would go, and did not accompany me to any appointments because he disagreed with my decision, claiming I did not need it in his opinion. Similarly, he dismissed my therapy, which I postponed for a long time because he told me I would be throwing my money away. Over the years, I encountered phrases such as, "You are too sensitive," "You are exaggerating," "It was just a joke." I already apologized. If you did not accept it, the problem is yours. The day was so good and you had to ruin it by discussing this. You ask for too much, you demand too much. I am not going to apologize for something I do not believe I was wrong about. What do you want? An apology? Okay, an apology. And do you know what your problem is? You. Some of these expressions were masked as jokes and followed by "You are too sensitive." In the last 2 years, things have slightly improved, yet some of these phrases continue to resonate within me to this day. We had been leading a quiet life for years. He would come to my house on weekends, we would watch television, eat at home, occasionally play games, and repeat. Often we would sit on opposite ends of the couch, each on our phones. When I would lie on his lap after a few minutes, he would say his leg had gone numb. I would get up and he would not suggest any alternatives. We would simply return to sitting side by side again without any physical interaction, at least until he wanted to have sex. I do not have any friends. Therefore, after some time in therapy, I realized that this was an issue and began searching for activity groups with women who share my interest in motorcycle riding. However, this always seemed to bother him in some manner. I attempted to share my experiences, sending messages about it, yet he displayed no curiosity, acted as if I had not even gone out, and never inquired how it went. Whenever I spent time with the group, I would feel anxious as I anticipated that upon my return he would be cold or would do something as a form of punishment. Going out alone without informing me, claiming his battery had died, or going out with me but excluding me, not treating me well, not holding my hand, claiming it was to avoid making the friends uncomfortable. Numerous other issues have accumulated within me over these years. Some of these things are too extensive to fit here. I am certain that he had issues as well. However, while I asked, spoke, communicated, and argued, he never discussed anything. He appeared to simply tolerate it. Therefore, I cannot advance much in this reflection. In December, something occurred that truly hurt me. I communicated this to him and I believe he noticed my change. I would say that from that moment on, he changed significantly. He had been changing over the past year, but the alterations became drastic from that point. However, I think my switch also flipped, but in the opposite direction. It grew increasingly challenging to be the passionate and dependent woman I once was. Therapy has been aiding me in connecting with other activities outside the relationship and rekindling my sense of self. In the last 2 months, many unfortunate events have occurred in quick succession. My parents had their car stolen, my phone was snatched while I was leaving an exam, I broke my finger, my work became overwhelming, I fell ill, and spent a significant amount of money on health issues. Additionally, my cat fell sick, adding more expenses. My niece was diagnosed with a chronic and relatively serious eye condition, among other things. All of this happened within a brief time frame, one incident following another. My family tends to seek my financial support and confide in me, but they are not emotionally accessible. On the day my phone was stolen, I had to contact banks, my phone provider, block emails, and change passwords, and during that time my fiance, now ex, and my niece were next to me making noise, laughing loudly, while I was trying to resolve everything, still feeling shaken. I had to request that they go to another room. Recently, the only support I have perceived from him has been financial, which began to irritate me. Suddenly, he started offering me money to assist with my matters as if that could solve all my issues in hours. And no, I do not have a low income and he does not earn significantly more than I do. Yet at the same time, he exhibited no empathy or curiosity regarding how I was feeling. He never inquired about my feelings, and this is not a new phenomenon. Consequently, I was somewhat managing this emotional burden on my own and through therapy, which is why I believe I have been noticeably more distant in recent months. Additionally, concerning texting, for many years I asked him to communicate with me more during the week when we were not physically together, and he consistently stated, "I prefer to talk to you in person, I do not like texting," and I had to accept that. Now, upon observing my distance and seeing his friends getting married and entering romantic relationships, he claims he desires a partnership. Then suddenly, he wants me to engage in something that he had always discouraged me from doing, stating that he himself did not enjoy it. He mentioned that he changed, and that is acceptable, but I still harbor resentment, especially now, since it seems that while I valued change, he was not willing to adjust. I am writing all of this while crying, with my rational self prevailing over my emotional self, attempting to remember why it ended. However, I recall many wonderful moments. I love him, and I think about how challenging it will be without him by my side. Most importantly, I feel an overwhelming amount of guilt, filling my chest as if it is about to explode. I truly apologize for this lengthy text and the poor writing. I simply needed to share some of this. Story 2. Stuck in a loop of demands, my fiancé said, "Why haven't you bought flowers for our anniversary?" After I poured my heart into her needs. After 5.5 years of pressure and breakdowns, I wonder if I should move out or fight for us in therapy. Is love enough? I have been with my fiancé for 5.5 years and find myself at my second breaking point. Throughout our relationship, I have felt constant pressure to be more romantic and outgoing, while struggling with my mental health and focusing on keeping us financially stable. First breaking point. Around the 4.5 year mark, I was completely burned out. Running my own business while managing mental and physical health issues had left me anxious, irritated, and low on energy. Additionally, I have gained a significant amount of weight and picked up some bad habits. Meanwhile, my girlfriend felt pressure mainly from people on her social media accounts getting married, having babies, and so on. She began to push me toward marriage, and I felt compelled to propose during our vacation. After that came her friend's wedding, which I attended reluctantly. The bachelor party became my breaking point. I did not know anyone, was bullied and made fun of for being different, and the experience left me traumatized. I had a complete mental breakdown. After returning home, I confided in her about my mental breakdown. I explained that I needed to heal and was considering checking into some type of facility or spa for a week or two. Rather than showing concern, she became angry with me, not because I was struggling, but because I had not offered to bring her along. That moment became the turning point. I realized it was time to end our relationship. What followed were multiple exhausting conversations during which I felt completely misunderstood. Eventually, I made the difficult decision to move out while she was at work. I sold our apartment, and despite having always been the one financially supporting us, provided her with enough money to secure her own mortgage. At that point, I simply needed space to rebuild myself. I just wanted everything to end as soon as possible. The 6-month break. During our separation, I quit my job, focused on healing, and returned to hobbies I had abandoned. Honestly, I was depressed and in a bad place. I was even contemplating suicide. We both tried to date other people without success. Eventually, she started calling constantly until I gave in. About a year ago, we reconciled and moved in together again. She rented out her apartment and joined me in my new place. Where we are now. My situation, I have been focusing on personal growth, getting out of my shell, returning to work, and beginning to lose weight, the main reason for my low energy. I have also been prescribed new medication, quit alcohol, and eliminated other bad habits. Her situation, she is financially stable, living rent-free with me while earning income from her work and from renting her apartment. I bought her a new car last month. However, it seems that it made her happy and grateful for only about 2 weeks. She is trying to quit bad habits and lose weight along with me. However, it appears that the effort is taking a toll on her, and she is taking it out on me. Despite everything going relatively well, emotionally we are apparently dealing with the exact same problems as before. The core issue remains her need for constant affection. If there is even a short period without romantic attention, such as going a week without sex, she begins to nag and we end up fighting. Nothing I do seems sufficient, even though I express love in my own ways. Hugs, kisses, deep conversations, bringing her coffee, helping with errands, maintaining her car, and paying for appointments. I even arranged for us to take 3 months off work so we could take a road trip together and work on self-improvement. Everything seemed fine during the road trip, but once we returned home, I did not see any motivation from her to work on herself or improve her situation. None of that seems to matter when she feels she has not received enough attention for a week or two. Everything appears to fall apart. Our latest fight. Yesterday illustrated our problem perfectly. After an exhausting weekend spent visiting her and my parents, I needed just one day to recover, catch up on work, and prepare for the week ahead. I told her that twice. Yet still, on my only day off, she pressured me to go biking. I declined and she went alone. While she was out, a friend made a surprise visit. We talked for some time before he left. After my fiance returned, I mentioned that my friend had visited, which visibly irritated her, prompting her to pour herself a drink. We watched television together, then went to lie down around 6:00 p.m. I was exhausted and saw that my friend had messaged me, so I started texting with him. She became furious, throwing a tantrum about all the attention I give to my friend. She accused me of talking too much about him and expressed her deep dislike for him. She then stormed out to the living room, where she eventually began frantically cleaning at 9:00 p.m. Feeling angry and overwhelmed, I left my own home for an hour just to get away and collect my thoughts, trying to comprehend what had just happened. When I returned, I once again attempted to explain my situation, that I was drained from the weekend, affected by my attention deficit disorder medication, which makes me less emotional, dealing with health issues, and simply unable to be the romantic, energetic partner she desires right now. I need to take care of myself before I can share energy and joy with her. However, she did not seem to understand, and instead criticized me for not buying flowers for our 6th anniversary, which I do not even count as a full 6 years since we were apart for 6 months. In the end, we simply went to sleep. Today, instead of starting my week, I cannot even focus or work. I feel completely messed up. The only thing I know is that these kinds of outbursts cannot and should not occur anymore, especially if we are planning any kind of future together. My current dilemma. I am beginning to understand that my girlfriend might be struggling with depression and low self-worth herself. Her mother is extremely depressed, manipulative, and insufferable. And sadly, I observe similar patterns in her behavior. She does not have any real close friends nor hobbies. Instead, she seems to prefer chasing endless adventures or social media as an escape while criticizing me during times when she is not receiving enough validation from me. Although she is aware of this, I am losing hope that she will ever work on herself. As painful as it is to admit, I am seriously questioning whether she is emotionally stable enough for us to have a future together, even though we have been planning to get married in the next 6 to 10 months. The fact is, I am not going to build any future with a person who keeps becoming silently resentful and throwing childish tantrums to victimize herself, and frankly has needs that I am not able to meet consistently. I do not even understand why she reached out to me during the break if it was that bad in the first place. I mean, she knew exactly what she was signing up for. It is not as if I am not improving and not working on myself. I am, it is just that everything takes time. Currently, I am considering moving out for a week or two and suggesting couples therapy. But at this point, I do not even know where to start or if it is even worth spending my time, energy, or savings at this stage. My main question is this: what advice would you give someone in my situation? Should I try one last time with therapy or accept that we may be fundamentally incompatible despite our history together? Summary: after 5.5 years with my fiance, I am at my second breaking point because despite my efforts to improve myself and maintain stability, should I try couples therapy or accept that this relationship might not be salvageable?